brightly shine. Is this our Christmas episode?
Yes, this is a Christmas episode.
We should have Christmas episodes.
I've said it for years. I've said it for cheers.
Did you see? You should have said it more this past year. I would have come back sooner.
Oh, Neil, I've been literally writing your letter every day for a year.
And not sending it. Very Abe Lincoln of you.
Well, your mom was getting them on the way there. She was throwing them away.
Do you need a longer... Here, take the
No,
cable.
I don't need a longer cord,
jack.
Neil. Stop talking about behind the scenes in the intro. Is this for the Patreon or is this for the real one?
I think everyone needs to know this one.
So it's the main channel.
Yeah.
Okay. Dope.
I like it.
Well, we shouldn't show our personality this much. Remember, we only show 40% of our personality for the main channel.
Hey, listen, if you guys want more than what you're normally getting, if this is right now, you're getting about 30%.
Yeah.
If you're on this main channel.
34% at most of our personality. How much they get on the other one, on the Patreon?
36. But that extra 2, seriously.
That's one of my favorite vines. When the girl's walking through the gas station, she sees a fake rat. She goes, I got a bunch of Vine stickers in last night.
You did.
I ordered like 50 Vine stickers for like $4.
What's my favorite Vine, Tyler?
Freaking bats.
Freaking bats.
And I had it in my pocket to give you.
Freaking bats.
And you said it.
I did.
And I saw you.
So we were filming and recording this morning, and within the first 30 seconds, I said, freaking bats.
My guy.
And he pulled the sticker out and handed it to me.
He said, freaking bats.
I said, freaking bats.
That was your nickname in 6th grade? Neil freaking bats.
Freaking bats.
Great house.
They didn't even know my last name.
No, you didn't.
Welcome to the podcast. I'm really, really amped about this one.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. You know why?
Why?
Because we're talking about SNL, which stands for Some None Lefties.
I didn't know what the hell was going to be.
Some None Lefties. So it's like there's some people that are left-handed, but it's also none because they're all faking it.
Yeah.
They're trying to be cool.
I almost said that to my doctor. I saw that she was writing. I met my doctor for the first time, and she was writing left-handed, and she didn't care. She cared about my medical history, but she didn't really care about my jokes. And I almost started joking about her being left-handed, and I stopped myself. And it was a good deal. It was a good decision.
That's so hot, Neil. So hot right now.
Saturday Night Live.
Saturday Night Live with Neil Greathouse.
Wow.
And what is the one when they're not on the show yet, but they're just like, they're not like a real guest. They're featuring, what is it?
Yeah.
I'm that guy. Tyler.
You're not that guy.
Taylor. You're not that guy,
Not
pal.
that guy, pal.
Not that guy, pal. One of my favorite YouTubes.
Hey, you know what's really cool is so SNL has got this really, really rich, storied history, but they have always done where they have a guest, like an actor or an activist or a writer, somebody who's in the news, and then they always have a musical guest. And you know who our musical guest is?
The Roots. But you know, at the root of that band is a beautiful man named Joseph Tilley. Joseph, take me away, take me away.
Hey, how's it going? Welcome to the Tyler and Neil Explain Everything podcast. Now officially your 4th favorite podcast. Hit the subscribe button and make sure you go to patreon.com/explain everything to get exclusive episodes. Looks like we made it.
What if we do an episode and we say, will Joseph Tilley rock? Oh my gosh.
Well, what if we just explain Joseph Tilley? That's going to be on the page. That's a Patreon one.
That is definitely
because that's really for a narrow audience.
Do you think he will listen to that one?
No, absolutely not. I don't even know if he listens. I think the only one he ever listened to was the one he was on when we talked about Spotify.
So you're telling me we need to have him back on?
So you're telling me there's a chance.
Saturday Night Live. We are about to tell you everything we know. And we know
We know
everything.
a good amount.
Okay, a good amount. That seems a little bit more within reach.
What were you going to say? Everything?
I did.
We should explain everything.
We know everything.
But we don't know that until we go in. And we just watched every episode from all 40, how many seasons?
It was actually a Mr. Beast episode we did an entire Mr. Beast episode, and the video was actually just us watching every SNL episode.
Yeah, that's a reference because we actually did an episode on our Patreon. Patreon.com/explain everything.
There it is.
We talked about Mr. Beast. He's a YouTuber. Whatever. Who cares? I mean, we do, and you do. too. So see you there.
A lot of jokes, a lot of I don't know, political satire, a lot of things that we know. Okay, in the presidential race this past year, there are so many people I saw go, I feel like, is this even real? Is this really happening? Is this not just an SNL sketch?
Yep.
That is how infused SNL is into our culture, because they do a great job of taking topical things that are happening in the news, difficult topics, and they mock it, they make fun of it, they highlight it, they parody it, and that is why this is important, because if I get my news from anywhere, I get it from the Weekend Update.
Weekend Update. No, by Colin Jost and Michael Che. They do a great job. I did not like them when I first started watching them, and now I have come to love their dynamic.
Yeah.
By the way, congratulations, Colin. We know he's a long-time listener, first-time caller. He just had his first kid, Scarlett Johansson. The Black Widow. Hey, you should check into Black Widows. I think they got... No, it's praying mantises. They're the ones that kill. They're spousies, right? Spouse-I.
Well, yeah, but if you get bit by a Black Widow, you're going to die.
Well, if you're once bitten, you're twice shy. Endless movie quote.
Here I go again on my own.
Hey, by the way, Neil, I heard somebody say this on a podcast this morning. Not ours. A much worse one, of course. I'm kidding. It was actually Sports Cars and Nonsense, and I love them. They said a phrase, and they said, you know, for the longest time, blah, blah, blah. When I was in college and after college, until people legitimately, my wife asked me to stop, anytime someone was in a conversation anywhere and they said for the longest time, I would go, for the longest time, and yell it in their face. Wow. Can I do that for this podcast?
Yes.
Is that approved?
100%.
Is that allowed?
Yeah.
Dope. Okay, I'm sorry. SNL. Also, so you're supposed to, whenever you talk about it, stands for Saturday Night Live, in case you don't know, and it's not just like, it's an acronym, so you don't just say SNL.
Right, which some non-lefties. But
some not
you know, yeah. So SNL, Saturday Night Live. There's a crazy amount of history that came. So the original name, the reason why it is not called Saturday Night Live. It was not originally called that. It was originally called Saturday Night, which is why they say live from New York, it's Saturday Night. They don't say it's Saturday Night Live. The reason for that is the way that SNL got here, because they're on season 43, I think, or they're getting ready to start 44, coming up here really soon. The NBC wanted to stop playing reruns of the Johnny Carson Tonight Show. And what he was doing is he was recording extra episodes during the week, and then they would play them on the weekend. He was tired. He wanted a break, and he didn't want them to play reruns on the weekend. And so they said, well, we have to come up with another option for the audience on Saturday night. And that is when Lorne Michaels and Dick Ebersol came up with and pitched the idea for a sketch comedy show. Now, at the time, ABC, Howard Cosell, sportscaster, all that kind of stuff, had a show on ABC that was called Saturday Night Live. It had some sketch comedy. It had a bunch of different, like, reporting, all this kind of stuff, and it was going at the exact same time. They both aired around the same time. Now, SNL on ABC only lasted 18 episodes. After that, it was done.
Okay.
That's when NBC bought the rights to the full name Saturday Night Live. That's why they say Saturday Night. They don't say
it's
Saturday
an
Night Live.
homage to Saturday Night.
Now,
was there a gap in that? Like after those episodes? Like when ABC gave it to NBC, was there like a 2-year gap, or was it just like it picked up?
No, because, they on NBC it never stopped.
Okay.
Although there were several points in the history that they thought they would cancel. It was their worst seasons ever.
I heard that, so when Lorne Michaels left, he left for a little stretch, and that's whenever it was the closest to being canceled. And Eddie Murphy was on the show, and he was just like the biggest person in the world.
Yeah.
I was listening to an interview, and people on the cast were saying there were days when it was Saturday and we did not have anything. Like didn't have enough to fill the show, and they literally just said, "Eddie, go out there and do something." And he would go out
single-handedly
and kill it. He literally saved that show.
Yeah.
It's 46 seasons. I just Googled it.
46.
I knew it off the top of my head. But on the 40th anniversary one, when he came out, it was just people cheering for him.
Yeah.
Right. And it was just because, like, he had a little bit of a. David Spade made a joke about him on one of the things when he had a run of bad movies or unsuccessful movies. They were great, I'm sure. Daddy Daycare 14. And so actually the kid movies are the ones he kept doing well. But anyways, they made a joke about him, and so he kind of had a storied past with him.
Yeah.
And it's like he literally saved the show at points. So but it's been 46 years.
That's a long time. So when he actually wanted to be on SNL, and his persistence pays off. He was begging the producers to let him on, and they wouldn't do it. They finally watched one of his audition tapes, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, this guy's incredible!" Yeah. But he would not take no for an
How did
answer.
he beg him? Like he was a waiter, and he was just like, "Hey,
continually went to the office, mailed them stuff, kept mailing them the audition tapes, just over and over and over and over again until he finally just won him over." So 3 people actually came from the ABC version of SNL that you don't think this is where they got their start from, but those 3 actors, Bill Murray was on ABC's version of SNL. His brother, who is in every Bill Murray movie, Brian Doyle Murray, and he's most famously known for in Groundhog Day, the guy who is holding up the groundhog.
Oh, okay.
That's his brother. He's in every one of
his
his movies.
know that.
And then Christopher Guest, who is most well known for directing a lot of satire, like Best in Show, Spinal Tap, those types of mockumentaries. Like, it's not a documentary, they're just making fun of it. Those 3 guys came over from ABC. So it got its original start on October 11th, 1975. That's when it first came out. And these names, you'll know most of these names. One of them, we could do an entire episode on Chevy Chase.
Yeah, we
The
could.
rise and fall of Chevy Chase.
Yes.
Oh, my gosh. John Belushi, Dan Aykroyd, Gilda Radner, Garrett Morris, Jane Curtin, and Lorraine Newman were the first ones. Now, it started off as a 90-minute show.
Is it not? I thought it still was. Is it an hour and a half?
I don't. It actually is. By the time you put all the commercials in there.
Oh, okay.
Right. Yeah.
So it was 90 minutes without commercials in.
And it's in a very storied studio. It's Studio 8H. You ever been there? Did you ever get to tour?
I did.
It's incredible, and it is way smaller than what you think it is.
Oh, yeah.
You're like, I think this place is amazing. Nope, it is not really all that big. It's in 30 Rockefeller Center, which is where Tina Fey came up with the idea
For 30 Rock.
For 30 Rock.
Which is her show that she oversees is like a version of Saturday Night Live. What do they call it on 30 Rock? Do they call it 30 Rock? Her show?
What do they call it?
I know the show is called 30 Rock. I'm asking, what is the show
what was the
they
name of the
pretend
show?
to run?
I don't remember.
I can't either.
Tracy Morgan in that show is incredible.
We're not explaining that, so who cares? He is great.
Some of that very first season, they had Jim Henson. Literally had Muppets on the show, like in the middle of it.
So he was like the little animated breaks, or was that what like digital shorts? That little thing. He was that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
They didn't do it anymore after that.
Okay.
So George Carlin hosted the very first episode ever, and they were terrified because he was most likely to say something that would get them kicked off the air.
Did he?
Of anybody. No, he didn't.
He didn't rip a picture of the Pope in half?
That's a Sinead O'Connor reference.
Yes.
And what's crazy about it is Lorne Michaels came back around, and Lorne said later on, he said, I actually applaud her for it because it takes guts. She was a nun. Sinead O'Connor was a nun. And for her to stand up and do that, do you know the picture that she tore up was not a picture of the Pope? It was a picture of Adam Sandler's character. Oh my gosh, what is it? That he plays on the show, but he looked like the Pope. He was like altar boy or something like that.
Oh yeah,
and that's the picture that she tore up. But so Chevy Chase in that very first one. This is this is going to be. I don't know if I'm going to. I'll try and do this justice. This is season 1, episode 1. It opens with this sketch comedy. They have an English tutor and an Eastern European immigrant student. They're discussing badgers and wolverines before they both, for no reason, fall down dead. And then Chevy Chase walks in. He's dressed as the stage manager, walks in a frame, looks at the camera and says, live from New York, it's Saturday night. That was it. That's how they opened it up.
I'm not going to lie. That's pretty funny.
It's incredible because no one knew what it was. They had no context. Even what like sketch comedy really was. And these guys, also historically, most of these people were high.
Okay.
There was so much
they're
drug
filming
use.
on Mount Everest like we're recording. Their studio's next to
The
ours.
humidity in that studio was crazy.
That's a callback.
Seasons 1 through 5. We'll talk about these in blocks. Seasons 1 through 5. Chevy Chase left halfway through the season 2. He was replaced by Bill Murray as a prime time, right? And he came from ABC. Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi, they left after season 4. So in season 1 through 5, they had some turnover. Now, pretty historically, and I would say famously, Chevy Chase didn't get along with anybody.
Wait, are you talking about on the set of SNL or everything he's ever done?
Everything he's
but it's everybody else's fault, I'm sure. He's the only constant, great. But yeah.
He got in a fist fight with they were physically punching each other in the face and Dan Aykroyd had to break them up.
Wait, who was?
Bill Murray and Chevy Chase.
I love Bill Murray.
Bill
Everyone
Murray.
loves Bill Murray.
So what the reason why the fight happened is they're on set. Tension is really, really high. Chevy Chase felt threatened by Bill Murray. Bill Murray
Because he's
called
more talented than him?
Yes. Well, it's hilarious. He called Chevy Chase medium talent. And he lost his mind.
That's incredible.
Chevy Chase comes back and says, Bill, your face looks like the surface of the moon. And Bill punched him right in the face. And they are having an absolute brawl. And Dan Aykroyd had to get in between him and separate him.
Okay, that's incredible. I've
That's
never
incredible.
heard that, and
it's
I'm
amazing.
on board with it.
So the next section of season 6 through 10, Lorne Michaels quit. Lorne Michaels was a producer. He's from Canada. He's the guy he's the reason why that show Dick Ebersol was great, but nobody really remembers that part of it. The schedule was too brutal. Like NBC wanted them to create, like right now, they think they do maybe 3 or sometimes even 2 new episodes in a month. Right now they do 3 in a row with guests, and then they take 2 or 3 weeks off while they work on getting new guests in. Then it was every single week they had new guests, and the schedule was just brutal. So he went and said, listen, you need to give the actors a break. You need to give me a break. They said no, and he quit. They tried to rename Weekend Update to Saturday Night News. This was the dark period when Lorne Michaels left. Eddie Murphy was in this time period, but people started to hate him because they were jealous of the amount of of fame that he had. And then this is where some of the new producers tried to say, we need to pre-tape this thing. We need to record it and air it back. And they're like, no.
That's literally called Saturday Night Live.
It's Saturday Night Live. It has to be that. Okay.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Eddie Murphy, I think the history of SNL, like you talk about people getting jealous and talent and all this, you have some of the, actors and actresses coming in and out of, stardom. But we've named people that have been, had the #1 movie in America.
Yes.
And they're doing a live TV. Like Eddie Murphy, I remember seeing stuff where it's he is making the Beverly Hills Cop, and it's the #1 movie in the world, and then he goes back to SNL or whatever.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
These people are in and out of this show that is very you have to be there. It's very time consuming, but then they're bouncing out for movie projects. It's crazy.
It is a difficult schedule to keep up. So season 11 through 20, this is a 10-year stretch here. Lorne Michaels comes back. Think about this. There is a famous actor who is in season 11. He was only in it for 1 season, and he is ranked as the lowest liked actor to ever be on. He's number 141. Robert Downey Jr.
Robert or Robert?
Robert Downey Jr. I Am Iron Man. Disliked.
Oh my goodness. That's probably why they killed him. Why Thanos tried to kill him.
So in these 10 years, Anthony Michael Hall comes in here. Every single actor but 3 of them left at the end of season 11. Massive turnover, but here's who they gained. Dana Carvey, Chris Rock, Mike Myers, Rob Schneider, Tim Meadows, one of my favorites, Adam Sandler, and Victoria Jackson.
That's a list.
That is insane.
That's an all-star team.
They were threatened in these 10 years. There was a fire in an adjacent studio that almost shut them down, and there was a writer strike that actually cut the season short. They couldn't finish it. And Lorne Michaels said this is the closest that SNL ever came to being canceled because of all the extra stuff that was going on.
Sheesh.
So then your next 5 years, think about this. This is like an all-star team right now. Will Ferrell, Sherry O'Terry, Tracy Morgan, Jimmy Fallon, Chris Parnell, only person to have come back twice and gotten fired twice. Rachel Dratch, Maya Rudolph, and Daryl Hammond. Daryl Hammond, for the longest time, was
for the longest time. Did you do that on purpose?
Woo!
Did you do that on purpose?
No, but I'm here for it.
Thanks,
That's
man.
incredible. Way to stick it out.
I'm bringing it back.
Way to stick it out.
Bring it back.
Daryl Hammond had he was like the any man. He could do impressions of anybody. He did Bill Clinton, all this.
Plus, he looks like a generic middle-aged white guy.
Yeah,
and so that's convenient.
Yes,
for society.
He was the longest running person on there now, and now it's not. It is Kenan Thompson is the longest running.
Oh,
person
he
on
has
there.
been on there forever.
He was supposed to leave last season. He didn't.
Does he want to leave?
Yes and no. He keeps trying to do these side projects, and some of them stick, some of them don't.
He had Kenan, the show.
Yeah,
I was rooting for it.
Going.
And people love him. Everyone loves Kenan.
Love him. Yeah,
he's like the Bill Murray. People absolutely love him.
All right, next one. This is where it gets really, really good. Tina Fey comes in, and she is the first female head writer.
Let's go.
She's incredible.
Go, Tina.
She's brilliant. If you haven't read her book,
Bossy Pants.
I
have read it. It's great.
It is amazing. Amy Poehler, Will Forte, Kenan Thompson, Bill Hader, Andy Samberg, Kristen Wiig, Jason Sudeikis, and Fred Armisen all came in those 6 seasons. Season 29 debuted that Grand Central Station that we know now as the Open that comes in. Okay, so this is something interesting. If you've done a tour of the place, you see that Grand Central Station, that light, that round domed light that has like the base of it.
Yep.
That isn't there. It is hanging from a cable. If you notice this, next time you watch SNL, they do this shot. It's a camera crane that comes in slowly over the top of the audience. There's only about 5 rows of people there. There's a very small audience on the floor. And the camera shot comes across that domed light. There's no base to it and is held by a very thin wire. It's hanging from the ceiling. And as soon as that camera shot is done, it goes right back up in the ceiling. There is nothing underneath there. It just goes right past it.
That's wild.
Because they have to take advantage of the space.
Oh, okay.
That entire section of SNL, I'm very fired up about this episode.
I love it. I'm excited. I'm here for it.
That Studio 8H, it's called Home Base, where that guest comes down, and they do their opening monologue. That has to get changed out in 1 minute and 24 seconds, 7 times during that. Yeah, that whole, and it's if you go to SNL's YouTube channel and look at their behind the scenes stuff, the in between commercial breaks is amazing. It's incredible.
That's insane.
Okay,
it's crazy, and I love, like you talked earlier about how there was one season they tried to transition it. I love that they have stuck to it.
Stick to your guns, man.
Stick to your Lorne Michaels. Okay, sorry, keep going.
He's not a lefty.
No.
Jimmy Fallon left in season 29 to host
Taxi.
Which is a terrible
so bad
Queen Latifah.
Yeah.
No, he did the Tonight Show at that point. So season 32 to 38, not a great stretch of years. There are budget cuts, and this is the stretch of time where Chris Parnell got fired the second times, but Horatio Sands got fired as well. A lot of people left. It was budget cuts. They were way too much money, and I'll get into that in a second. Season 39 until the present. That's when so Pete Davidson, he's getting a lot of tattoos removed. He has a long way to go, but.
Yeah, well, you know,
he's great.
When you make decisions based on girls you're dating,
oh my gosh,
that can happen.
Seth Meyers left. He was in that last stretch of years, 32 to 38. Seth Meyers was your head writer. It's not a great stretch of years in SNL history. He left to go over and host Late Night, and then Colin Jost comes on as the head writer, and I believe that it took a big, drastic step up.
Question, was Colin Jost like one of the writers there, or
Yes.
did they bring him in from the outside?
One of the writers.
Okay, great.
That's how any of the head writers get their start. You have to start in that system. They don't bring an outsider in and just say, now you're the head writer. So like Conan O'Brien got his start by being a writer on SNL.
Okay. And then he went over to another show. Wasn't he on another show?
I can't remember.
I think he was. Hey, you know what I've noticed from you talking about this, though?
Taxi.
Taxi, yes. He was the head writer on Taxi. The Robert De Niro one, not the Jimmy Fallon, Queen Latifah one.
You talking to me?
Talking to me. So a lot of the head writers are the people who do Weekend Update. Have you noticed that?
Yes.
Like that's...
Because so you have to write your own sketches.
Okay.
In SNL, you have got to start off as a good writer, and the people who are good at it. Michael Che is incredible at it.
Yeah, he is.
He's in there. So it has gotten. There are 200. They've won 231 Emmys, 3 Peabodys, and 65 primetime Emmys.
Oh my gosh!
But
I've
I mean,
stayed
when
at
you're
the
around
Peabody.
for 40, what?
I've stayed at the Peabody, not 3 times though.
Isn't that the one where the ducks come in?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Jerk.
Sorry.
Some little known facts. You ready? Steve Martin was not a cast member. A lot of people think he is. It's because he's been on the show so many times.
Yep.
He's been on there over 15 times.
Hosted over 15 times. Not just been on.
Yeah, hosted. Right. So you have a host. He is the only person to host 3 times in a season. The season opener, the season finale, and the Christmas episode.
Why?
I don't know. There are apparently not a lot of people out there wanted to be on SNL.
It was a rough year.
Yeah.
A rough year.
You know that sketch, Deep Thoughts by Jack Handy?
Yeah.
He was a writer on the show. Those were
name
his
was
thoughts.
Jack Handy.
His name is Jack
I thought
Handy.
that was a fake name.
Nope, real name.
I
they're
literally
the
used to put
best.
Jack Handy quotes on my wall as a teacher.
They're the best.
Yeah.
They're really, really good.
So good.
He's an actual writer. Alec Baldwin has a record for hosting the most amount of times, 17.
More than Stevie Martin?
Cabin Boy. is one of my favorite
Kept,
sketches.
I like the one where they talk about the meatballs.
Oh, God.
That's a good one.
Yep. Larry David worked as a writer on here as
He was the guy that co-created Seinfeld, and then he
Yes.
had Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yes. So he also he quit one day, very angry, hated his job, hated the pace of it, walks into Lorne Michaels' office and quits. Comes back the next day because he realizes he's made a terrible mistake. And instead of going back in and telling him that he wanted his job back, he just started acting like he never quit and just kept working. That is a pretty famous thing that Larry David did. And he also wrote that in. George Costanza did the exact same thing in Seinfeld with George Steinbrenner for the Yankees.
That's
and it was based
incredible.
off his job. Mike Myers. So Conan O'Brien, while he's one of the writers, Mike Myers keeps coming to him and he's like, listen, I want to do this character called Wayne Campbell. He's in his basement. He's got his buddy Garth with him. And he kept pushing it. Conan O'Brien got sick and tired of him pitching this idea. He's like, this is terrible. It's not going to work. And then finally said, okay, we'll let this one go in. Lorne Michaels let it go in. And they said, the only way that you're going to learn your lesson is when this thing bombs horribly. And it killed. Now they've made 2 movies off.
What is it called?
Wayne's World.
Wayne's World. Exactly.
Yeah. Conan O'Brien's like, I made a mistake.
Swing and a miss. Maybe I should go to
made a
TBS.
mistake.
That'll work.
So it's always live. Always has been live. There's only a 7-second delay. It is live in Eastern and Central time zones. This past season, actually no, in the 42nd season, it started where it was live in all 4 time zones at the same time, and it's stayed that way ever since then. So because of that 7 seconds. There are some moments where people have done things on the air that are not great. Jenny Slate is one of the most famous. So you know her from Parks and Rec.
Yeah, she was like, don't be suspicious, don't be suspicious. Daddy money.
They're just incredible characters. In the first sketch of her very first show, she dropped the F-bomb.
Yeah, I remember
and
that.
she got fired.
Yep, immediately.
So she made it to the end. No, not immediately. They let her stay on, but they said you can't.
To the end of the episode?
No, the end of the season. They let her go at the end of the season, so she didn't make it.
She's one of the funniest humans on the planet.
Oh my gosh, she's fast. Like quick
She's
humor.
so fast.
Yeah. Will Ferrell in 2001 was the highest paid cast member. He made $350,000 per season. Alec Baldwin, this past 2 seasons when he played Donald Trump, made $1,400 each time he came in to play Donald Trump.
$1,400?
And hated it.
Because of the money, or because
no, didn't care about the money.
Oh, he didn't like promoting Donald Trump.
Donald Trump, yeah, couldn't stand it.
Yep.
Right now, most of the cast members make about $25,000 per show.
That's not a lot for living in New York, is it?
No, you can't live off that.
No, because there's not that many shows.
That's why most of them will sleep overnight or stay. It's actually pretty famous. In the writers' rooms for like 2 or 3 days leading up to it, they pee in cups.
What? I've actually Tina Fey talked about that. Just they do it for that, and also just so they don't have to take breaks when they're working.
They're working too hard.
It's
brutal. James Franco did a behind the scenes. It's on Hulu.
Documentary.
It's a documentary. I highly recommend you go watch it. He followed them through a whole.
You know, Zach Galifianakis was hired as a writer for SNL and lasted 2 weeks and was fired. They didn't use any of his sketches. They criticized everything he said and they fired him.
That's crazy.
Yeah, fun fact.
Cypress Hill got banned on stage. They were going to do they wanted to smoke weed on stage.
Insane in the membrane.
And they asked to do it. They said they were told no, and they did it anyways.
Yeah.
They smoked
So
weed.
you want to be a rock superstar, live large, smoke weed on SNL, get fired. 2003, Tyler graduated high school.
Also, though, they had a couple things not going for them. None of them were lefties.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
That's where the show name
Some
came from.
non-lefties.
Some non-lefties.
So some pretty obscure writers that are on the show. Kristen Gore, daughter of Al Gore, was a writer on SNL. J.J. Philbin was Regis Philbin's daughter, and then Max Brooks, son of iconic Mel Brooks, was a writer on the show as well.
Okay, well, a lot of kids of people.
Steven Seagal is one of the first people to ever be banned from the show. Banned in 1991 as being called the worst host ever. Worse than anyone else because he was so rude, difficult to work with, didn't know his lines, and was just awful.
And roundhouse kicked Lorne Michaels.
Slowly. You could see it coming.
Killing me softly.
2 people famous. Who do you think of when you think about breaking character? A lot of people
I
start
think of Jimmy
laughing.
Fallon, for
Jimmy
sure.
Fallon.
Yeah.
And then, James Hader, or Bill Hader.
Hader,
Bill
yeah.
Hader is the second one, and typically because of Stefan. But what happened is, so a lot of people don't know this. So like Seth Meyers would write these crazy lines. They would change them at the last minute. So
John Mulaney wrote
John
it.
Mulaney
He
would
was
write
the writer, yeah.
They would write these things, and what they would do is Andy Samberg would get just off camera and do everything that he could to make Bill Hader break character, and it became part of who he is and what he did.
Yeah.
They do this thing where they would go in, and John Mulaney would do it, and in the last couple, because they use cue cards.
Yeah, and they have to rehearse this. So they're doing these aren't like the first time they're reading these things. When he's being Stefan, he's read these things 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, maybe.
Well,
Yeah.
most skits you read them 2 or 3 times.
Right. Some of them they're coming up with this stuff right on the fly, and so they do a dress rehearsal. They do dress right beforehand in front of a real live audience, and they bring another audience in.
Yep.
They throw out a lot of their sketches that don't work
With
or
that
don't
audience.
hit. Yeah, they'll throw out 2 or 3.
Yeah.
So they write between 40 and 50 scripts per week. Dang. Only 8 make it to air.
That's insane.
That's a lot of writing. Yeah. Political figures that were on the show. Rudy Giuliani, Ralph Nader, Jesse Jackson, John McCain, Gerald Ford, George W., Sarah Palin actually came in right along with Tina Fey.
Yeah.
Tina Fey.
That incredible.
Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, and Donald Trump.
Did you ever see John McCain's clip that he was in?
I think
I think it was with Amy Poehler, and he was like the husband or something, and he would like, it was so funny. He would breathe over her neck and be like, hi. It was so funny.
Yeah.
And Donald Trump, I think, danced to Hotline Bling, if I remember correctly.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
They said that it was one of the highest reviewed, but also one of the most boycotted, and people revolted because they didn't want him to be.
Well, that's before he announced his running.
He was in
I think.
2015. No, he was running.
Oh, he was. I didn't think he announced. Okay,
He
I was wrong.
It was bad.
But then he started badmouthing SNL, and so like
Yeah.
they didn't have a great relationship after that.
Pretty on
I don't think he's been back.
Pretty on brand. Every hallway scene that you see as somebody walking through. So Seth Meyers created this as a rule in the year 2000. In the year 2000, sorry, that was a Conan O'Brien.
Oh,
thing.
so hot.
Every single hallway scene that you see, if they're doing a walkthrough, that scene will have to have an Abraham Lincoln, 2 chorus line girls, and a llama. In every one of them. He came up with a random idea to act like they're really like doing, it's like a crossover between all these other things.
That's funny.
It's really bad.
I respect that game.
So other shows that have tried to capture some of that same sketch comedy magic in living color. Jim Carrey.
Yep. Jim Carrey got to start on
Wayans
his
Brothers. Yes.
A lot of other people did too. Yeah.
Yep.
But he's the one famous because
Stewart.
he tried to be on SNL so many times.
Yeah,
didn't
yeah,
he?
and
then
couldn't.
he got on In Living Color,
do
and
it.
the Wayans brothers, they were big on there too.
And then Second City, and it's kind of where it got it's Canadian, and then Mad TV.
Yep. A ton of people from Second City end up going and working at SNL.
Yeah, that's where they kind of got. Yeah.
You don't see a lot of crossover with the In Living Color and Mad TV though.
Nope. You want to do 3v3?
Yes. Let's
Favorite
go.
cast members
Yeah.
of all time?
I'll go first. Andy Samberg.
Dang it.
I knew he'd be on both of our lists.
Andy
And it's not really for his sketches. It's for his.
Hey, I'm Mark Wahlberg. You want to talk? Hey, you're a donkey.
Hey, say hello to your mother for me.
Say hi to your mother for me.
Yeah, the digital shorts, like
Yes,
that's absolutely
yeah.
incredible, and you can't say that without like Horme and Akiva, and But anyways, I'm gonna go Andy Samberg all day.
man.
I absolutely love Andy Samberg. Have you seen Palm Springs on Hulu?
No. Oh, I've heard it. I saw like an ad for it.
Yeah, The Lonely Island like did it, and
Is it good?
I can't tell it to our audience because it's rated R, but I loved it.
Yeah, we don't watch rated R movies.
Yeah, we don't, but if I did, I would love that movie.
All right, your second favorite.
No, it's your turn.
Oh,
It's my turn.
Yes.
It's my turn. Will Ferrell.
oh, yeah. Okay. I mean,
Classic Will.
Yeah. When he came back and he hosted the show last year, and he did that sketch as an American Indian talking about, there's a lot of things in politics in this world that we can't agree on, but I think the one we can all agree on is none of us can digest corn. So Roman said that to me. My son said it to me at dinner 2 nights ago. He goes, Dad, none of us can digest corn. It's so good.
So good.
Kristen Wiig is, she is one of the, I think the reason why she is so funny is she can make fun of herself and doesn't mind it being embarrassed. And she is, most of the actors are trying to make the other characters break.
Yeah.
She's incredible, and she's smart.
Okay, so my third one, it stinks because we overlapped, but I would say Kristen Wiig. I could say Bill Murray, I could say Amy Poehler, but like Kristen Wiig, she is next level funny to me. And like the small hands, when she does the small hands thing, like she is so funny in everything. Maybe Fred Armisen if I have to pick a replacement.
Oh my gosh, he's brilliant.
Yeah, no, I would probably go Bill Hader. If I can't do Kristen Wiig, I would say Bill Hader. He'll be my alternate.
His impressions are just they're amazing.
So hot right
Michael Che would be mine, and I think what he has done with the Weekend Update segment, that back and forth between Colin Jost and him, when they write jokes that the other one hasn't seen, they do it at the end of every season. They write jokes for the other one that they have to cold read and they've never seen before, is my favorite segment.
And they're saying stuff where they're trying to get the other person.
They're 100% trying to get him in jail or fired or canceled.
Yeah, or just blasted on Twitter.
So Will It Rock?
Will It Rock? Our favorite segment featuring Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Fourth favorite segment on the show.
Like, would SNL be any better if Dwayne The Rock Johnson were on here? And oh, by the way, he's a member of the Five Timers Club.
You heard it here first, folks.
He's hosted 5 times, and he has had a famous cameo where he came in as the character The Rock Obama.
Yeah, where it was like he turned into the Hulk, or Barack Obama turned into the Hulk.
It's so good.
It was great.
He does a great job. He is, I think, because he was a pro wrestler, sorry, Wesley, he definitely can act.
Wesley, for those of you newcomers to the show, we did an episode with our friend Wesley Lewis explaining wrestling. And Wesley had never listened to the show, so he didn't know that sometimes we might not be focused. And
we may not talk about
he thought we were going to do like a dissertation topic on
we were
wrestling.
Really going to talk about wrestling.
And we talked about Sting and so there's a little
it was bad
reference point, little asterisk for that.
SNL is iconic. SNL has had presidential figures on there. It's had musicians on there, dual hosts, like you're the actor and you're the musical guest star.
Yep.
Nick Jonas has done it multiple times.
Donald
Glover. Justin Timberlake. Some of the best television moments, obviously with that many Emmys and Peabodys and all that kind of stuff that Tyler's been to.
And I won't say I'm famous, but I've been to a Peabody.
It's one of my favorite things. And I will say this, I don't watch it live on TV. Because you can honestly, you wait about an hour and you're going to get every individual segment on YouTube.
Yep.
And fast forward.
And here's the cool thing. You could actually just look and see which ones do well. Be like, oh, it's probably a good one. You don't have to sit through the bad
really
ones.
Helps filter through which ones.
Absolutely. It's autocracy. Is that what it's called? Where it's just popular? Meritocracy. Which one's the one that's just meritocracy because it's popular?
It's hypocrisy.
Oh, because the hippos. Can I tell you? Okay, so before we end, I want to tell. There's a phrase. If you say it to me, I'm going to roll my eyes at you. Mm-hmm. I hate when people talk about SNL and they say,
"For the longest time."
I mean, I'll give it to you. Half a point.
Okay.
Half a point to Gryffindor. Whenever people are talking about SNL, like, oh, I don't watch SNL. I used to watch it when it was funny. I hate that. Because you know when it was funny to you? When you were of the age where you had a good sense of humor. Mm-hmm. When you were in your mid-20s and you were relevant, that's when you liked it. Because it was relevant to you. Now you don't get it. Because it's relevant to the next generation coming up. Unless you're like us, who just know everything, of course. And why can't people be perfect like us? And so I just... Don't say that because you sound dumb. That's my throw out. Don't say that. It has great moments. We just named through Bill Murray, Will Ferrell, Jimmy Fallon, Andy Samberg, Kristen Wiig. These people are from Kenan Thompson. These are amazing people.
Think about what Chris Rock is on multiple shows right now. He's done more movies, still doing stand-up right now.
Yeah.
These guys are incredible.
He was in Saw.
Yeah.
Probably.
I didn't see it.
I don't either. It scares me. I don't like scary movies. They scare me.
Saw it.
Hey, you see, he saw it. Okay, I'm here, and that was good.
That's good.
Man, Neil. All right, Lorne, you heard it here first. Neil's your guy.
I had a dream.
He's that guy, pal. He's that guy. He's that guy. Well, thank you guys so much for listening to us.
We love you guys. We really do.
Don't forget, if you want, we do have double. Our camera just died. So if you're watching it on YouTube,
battery exhausted.
Yeah, it's tired of hearing us talk. It's like our audience. Exhausted. If you want to hear more of our show, some would say double the show, double the fun, because we have another episode a week that airs. That's on our Patreon at patreon.com/explain everything. If you don't, we will still provide this quality content, this juicy, flavorful, smelly beef jerky content for you here for free.
You said beefy content?
Yeah, beef jerky content. It's deer meat, warm deer meat if the freezer goes out. I'm so sorry. That's a personal thing for Neil, and I apologize for saying it. Thank you guys so much for joining us. And as always, for the longest time. Thank you for coming on our TED Talk.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Explain Everything podcast. You can follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube at Explain Everything Podcast. We're on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, but you're already here. We love you. Actually, no. We're in love with you. Thanks for coming to our TED Talk.